My name is Lydia, and this summer I was canvassing in a neighborhood, and I was going door to door, knocking on people's doors, talking to people, and no one seemed interested in any books. And I talked to one guy, people were not interested, and they were moving me along pretty quickly, and I was tired, I was hot, and I was thirsty, and I was going along, and I knocked on a door, and the house beside me was empty. There was no one in it. It didn't look like anyone was home. Just as I stepped off the porch, suddenly a car drove up, and a lady jumped out of the car, ran in her house just as I walked onto her front porch. So she literally had like 10 seconds to get in her house before I knocked on her door. And so I knocked on it, she came to the door, and I was like, oh, sorry, you didn't have much time to get to the door before I knocked. And she's like, oh, what are you doing? And I showed her Ministry of Healing. She was looking at it, and she was pretty not enthusiastic about it very much. And so then I swapped her out and showed her Peace Above the Storm, which is Steps to Christ. And she was looking at it, and she was very quiet, like she didn't say anything as I was telling her about it. And then I closed her, and she said, my husband has all the money, but he's gone right now. So I said, that's okay. I showed her a little Steps to Christ, and I could give it to her for anything. I said, that can just be whatever you feel like giving. And she said, okay, let me go see. I think I might have a few quarters in my purse. Let me go see. So she comes back, and she's like, literally, this is all I have. And she hands me some quarters and some dimes, and it was like 80 cents. And I was like, hey, no problem, that's fine. And then she paused, and I said, hey, can I pray with you? And she said, oh yes, please pray with me. I said, what do you want to pray about? And she's like, oh, I'm really struggling with anxiety. Can you pray about that? I said, yeah, of course, let me pray about that. And so I prayed with her that God would give her freedom from anxiety and just strengthen her in this time. And I realized that when I showed her Peace Above the Storm, which is Steps to Christ, that had really struck with her, even though she wasn't able to get the book. But so then I was just like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. I was about to wave and step off the porch and say goodbye. And she said, wait. She said, Lydia, thank you so much for coming. I'm a firm believer in signs, and I'm taking you as a sign from God that my husband and we need to go back to church. My husband has been wanting to go back to church, but we've just never gotten around to doing it. But we're going to start looking for a church today. And I could have missed that lady by 10 seconds. God had the divine timing just right, so I was able to meet her.